right, good morning again. And let's read from 2 Corinthians chapter 10. Second Corinthians chapter 10, beginning in verse 14 down to verse 17. For we stretch not ourselves beyond our measure, as though we reached not unto you, for we are come as far as to you also in preaching the gospel of Christ, not boasting of things without our measure, that is, of other men's labors, but having hope when your faith is increased, that we shall be enlarged by you according to our rule abundantly, to preach the gospel in the regions beyond you, and not to boast in another man's line of things made ready to our hand, but he that glorieth, let him glory in the Lord. And you see there in those verses, you see Paul always looking to those regions beyond. Here as he's writing to the Corinthians, but you see he's really looking out beyond that Corinthian church and to preach in those regions beyond. And as Des said, I've had the opportunity the last several years to serve as the executive director for an organization that's doing just that, which is Grace Beyond Borders International. For those of you who weren't here earlier, I'll explain. This shirt that I'm wearing is a Filipino barong, and that would be like a traditional men's dress shirt in the Philippines. And the Philippines is a place that is very important to our mission. Most of our missionaries are Filipinos that are then taking the grace message to other countries. And really, most American grace believers don't realize it, but really the Philippines is probably objectively the center of the grace movement in the world today. There are probably something like 1,000 grace churches in the Philippines. And the Philippines is a country that's a third the population of the U.S. I don't know how many grace churches there are in the U.S., but I'm pretty confident that I would not be able to count 1,000 of them. So many of our missionaries are Filipino grace believers, in some cases second and third generation grace believers that then are taking the gospel of grace out to other countries. And we currently have missionaries in, and I'll see if I can list all the countries without leaving any out, the Philippines, Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, Thailand, Laos, Taiwan, and Nigeria. And I don't think I left any out. I'm not sure if I said Indonesia. I think I did. But, in, of course, each of those places is a little bit different as far as the impact that Grace Ministry has had there. As I say, in the Philippines are many established Grace churches. In Indonesia as well, maybe not as many as the Philippines, but there are established Grace churches. Some of those other mission fields are much more kind of pioneering efforts. But there's just three exciting areas that I wanted to bring to your attention today. One thing is, by the way, this year, as coronavirus has affected all of us and affected plans, you can imagine, especially in the area of international missions, coronavirus has had a big impact on international travel, as well as just how churches have to operate as far as their meetings in different countries. We had several missionaries that were supposed to visit the United States this year and visit churches and give updates on their ministry, and all of that has been postponed indefinitely until more travel is available. For me personally, I'm the executive director of the mission, so I do the administrative work. Here, a couple of times a year, I go and visit our mission fields, and things have opened up where, as far as travel, where if everything comes through here in the next in the next week, I'll be traveling to Nigeria in about a week, a little over a week. I'm waiting on a visa that hopefully I will hear about in the next couple of days. And Nigeria is a newer mission field for us. There is Princeton Waters, who some of you may be friends with on Facebook. He has planted a church in the city of Jos. There's also a group that kind of meets off and on in the city of Abuja. And we've had 2 conferences there. The plan will be to have a conference here toward the end of November that could be as many as 300 to 400 pastors and church teachers, not necessarily from Grace churches, but from other types of churches that are learning the Grace message and rightly dividing of the word of truth. And so be in prayer for that effort there. In Jos, we have a rented office there that really is open pretty much every day, with many reading materials and different things available that people come in and either read there or check out. And that's been a good ministry there. But to my knowledge, we're the only established Grace ministry that's doing anything in Nigeria. In other countries in Africa, there are other things going on as far as Grace missions. But Nigeria is the largest country in Africa, both by population and by economy, and a very important place for some sound doctrine to take root. So keep that in prayer. We do, as of last week, we have a new missionary that was accepted as a missionary with Grace Beyond Borders. His name is Chris, and he's an Indonesian. His father is a Grace pastor in Balikpapan, Indonesia. And the plan for Chris is that he'll first go and work under the man who is currently our international representative, and really the man who started Grace Beyond Borders, which is Mario Indino. He'll work under Mario Indino for some period of time, and then we'll go to Papua New Guinea and assist in an existing work there with another of our missionaries, Wesley Tobin. And so be in prayer for that work. And then the third thing that I just wanted to ask you to pray for is we are in the early stages of setting up an online Bible school that we will use. We'll produce things there in various languages of our different mission fields. And, partially because of COVID, you've seen a lot of ministry moving online, but there's some great opportunities there. Even, when you think about spreading in the regions beyond, that today there are many people around the world that are learning, rightly dividing online. They've never met another person, another Grace believer, but they've come across sound doctrine online, and then there are churches popping up that are not the result of a missionary going somewhere, but the result of somebody encountering sound doctrine online. And that's part of what we're looking to do with our Bible school as well. And so keep that effort in prayer. I do have a sign-up sheet if you'd like to get periodic updates from Grace Beyond Borders. Just put your name, and we do send things by postal mail once in a while, but email is much better. Don't worry, we won't inundate you with emails. But I'll just send that around. I don't have a pen to send around with it, but I think most of you have pens. And so I'll just send that around, and if you'd like to get those updates, we'd be happy to send them to you.